There are very few games that still retain their popularity over the years, including TF2. But why has TF2 been so popular for almost 14 years? What caused people to continue playing this game? What made TF2 the timeless piece of perfection it is today? I'll be going over a few reasons why I think TF2 has lasted so long compared to many other first-person shooters. To start off, I'll be going over a quick summary of the gameplay of TF2. What made TF2 so popular is that it was pretty easy and fun to pick up for the first time. Even if you weren't that good at the game and you sucked horribly, you could be pretty lucky and get a random crit against an enemy player and instantly delete them if you're playing Soldier or Demo Man. But TF2 has a very high skill ceiling, which drove people to play the game even more so they could get better at it. Each class also has their own unique abilities. For example, the Scout is the fastest class in the game and can perform a double jump. The Engineer can deploy buildings such as dispensers, teleporters, and sentry guns which help your team. The Spy could turn invisible and disguise as enemy players. Each class had their own playstyle and upsides and downsides. Some classes have a higher skill ceiling, some classes have a lower skill ceiling. The game and each of the 9 classes are pretty well balanced. Except for Pyro. When TF2 went free to play in 2011, a ton of new players flooded in, including myself, but I played TF2 way after 2011, so anyways. You didn't have to spend $1, a quarter, a dime, or a nickel on this game in order to play it. You just had to have a Steam account and a computer capable of running it. In fact, due to TF2's age, you can run the game on basically anything due to the magic of the Source engine. For example, a long time ago I played TF2 on an old Mac, made in 2009. But compared to the first Team Fortress Classic, it's old, costs money, boomer game, poo-poo, old, and it's pretty outdated compared to TF2, unless you're an absolute maniac who enjoys playing gold source games. But the point is, a free-to-play game equals a lot of people playing it. Take a look at VALORANT or Warzone for example. There's no doubt that some players were introduced to TF2 through Valve's Meet the Team shorts. These videos showed off each of the classes in the game, their abilities, and their personalities, which have gained upwards to tens of millions of views. Even people that haven't even played TF2 have seen one of these videos at least once. Not only are there the Meet the Team videos, there's also comics, the Jungle Inferno short, and Expiration Date. There is also a cancelled Adult Swim TF2 TV show, but you can find the commercial for it on YouTube. Team Fortress 2 came out in 2007 and looks pretty good to this day, compared to games that also came out in 2007, such as Call of Duty Modern Warfare, Bioshock, and Uncharted 1. The reason as to why TF2 still looks good after all this time is because the game didn't try to go for a realistic approach. It went for a cartoony, vibrant, bright-looking game. TF2 is on the same engine as Half-Life 2 and aged quite better than that game, purely because TF2 went for an unrealistic approach when Valve designed it. Let's take a look at Battlefield 4 for example. The game had bright and vibrant muzzle flashes, lens flare, color correction, bright neon signs on certain maps, very good sound design, and it's still being played almost 8 years later. Good graphic design comes a long way with video games. If your game is dull, boring, unoriginal, doesn't have a soul, and feels empty, your game won't last long. If TF2 wasn't updated since launch, it would end up like the console versions of the game, which hasn't had any updates since its release. TF2 has had major updates from 2007 to 2017, adding a ton of new features to the game. Added new weapons, hats, playstyles for certain classes, taunts, and an entire economy to the game. Let's do another comparison and look at Day of Defeat Source. This game was released in 2005. I don't think it had any major content updates since release. The subreddit is absolutely dead, and you'll most likely encounter actual World War II veterans on this game. Anyways, updates are really important for games. The more updates, the more content there is, the less it gets boring, the more incentive there is to play the game, the more people actually join in and start playing. TF2 has had a lot of updates since release. Hell, Valve gave us 10 years worth of updates. But we can say one thing, let's be glad we don't have a battle pass system like most AAA games nowadays. The Man Economy update in 2010 brought many things: crates, keys, the Manco store, trading, vintage quality items, and unusuals. This update and many updates afterwards added value to items and introduced the start of many trading sites and TF2 item sites such as Scrap.tf, Backpack.tf, and many others being released. The Man vs. Machine 2 Cities update added Australian weapons, which are gold guns that are worth quite a lot, and the rarest Australian is the Golden Pan, which is worth like $4,000. You could actually make make money off of this game if you're lucky, unlike some games where if you spend money, you basically get nothing valuable in return because it won't be worth anything for a couple of years. This whole Team Fortress economy is most likely the reason why there is no TF3, because a lot of people will panic sell their items since TF2 would be considered outdated, and everybody would move to the new game, which would result in a huge market drop. In fact, trading is so popular in TF2 that there are actual community trade servers that have quite a few players active. TF2 has brought a whole variety of memes throughout the years, the most popular one I can think of being the nope.avi one, and many popular TF2 videos such as Team Fabulous 2, garnering over 20 million views made by the legend Kitty0706. Rest in peace. This whole wave of funny TF2 content brought a lot more character and personality to the game. It's more defined as casual, fun, and something you can actually chill on. You could play competitively if you wanted to, but the game doesn't force you to be competitive to have fun, unlike most modern games. Honestly, I would have never thought a game that's 14 years old would still have new and interesting videos made about it. There's so many TF2 YouTubers that deserve a lot of credit for coming up with video ideas that haven't been done to death, or just aren't plain boring or uninteresting. It's pretty hard to come up with original ideas from time to time, especially when there isn't that much news for the game, but I think one of the reasons why TF2 is still alive is because of these innovative content creators that have stuck with the game and the community over time. Team Fortress 2 has a variety of game modes that make the game more unique and enjoyable. Examples of them being Man vs Machine, a 6-player co-op mode where you defend against waves of robots, ×10 mode where each of the weapons stats are multiplied by 10, versus Axe and Hail where one player plays as a very strong boss character and the rest of the players have to kill him, Medieval mode, Randomizer, Jailbreak, Death Run, MGE, Slender Fortress. There's a ton of unique custom game modes all throughout TF2. And not only that, there are community made source mods for TF2 such as Team Fortress 2 Classic, Open Fortress, and Pre-Fortress 2. Now we just got our first and last honorable mention as to why TF2 is very popular. Just give me a minute. Let me just look through. Hold on. Oh, there it is. So the reason why TF2 is so popular is because the game is dead and it's okay. Anyways, that's gonna be it for today's video. Not mentioned was just fake news. It isn't real. Don't believe it. But hopefully you guys enjoyed this video and learned something new. If you'd like to see more of this content in the future, consider liking and subscribing. If not, you can always leave a dislike. I'll see you guys in the next video.